So something that I'm curious about is obviously you've learned a lot of lessons and you're here, you're sharing them, etc. But where did these lessons come from? Obviously, it's building the businesses. It's coming here at 16. It's things like that. I'm curious when it started to like. Obviously, you had a goal when you came here, which is probably freedom, right, from socialism and whatnot. But when did that kind of start to develop into I can do way more. I can do the crypto stuff. I can make millions and millions of dollars. And what was that like spiritual awareness when did it start to like click?
Mm. You have to be able to be perspicacious, which is the ability to perceive that which cannot be seen with the common eye. When you look at the penthouse, somebody lives there, right? Somebody paid for that.
Yeah.
What do they know that I don't know that allowed them to be there and not me? That is the question. It's not, oh, I need to work hard. No, it's maybe I knock on that guy's door. Has that ever occurred to you to literally go into a coffee shop full of millionaires and start making friends? How many millionaires are in your circle? If you're poor and you're hanging out with poor people, what do you expect is going to take place? So I think the first thing that I went through was the journey of processing the information that we're getting from the world around us.
Mhm.
People don't stop and look. People don't stop and pay attention, dude. People
And it's everywhere.
hold up. What is going on? What is happening around me? What is happening in front of me? And based off of that, and being able to see it from multiple perspectives, multiple opinions, you form a worldview as to how things are working. And the problem is most people have pessimistic worldviews because they have narrow perspectives. So they can only see the world through a vacuum.
Their small town, their friends.
Lack of information.
Yes.
Only the educated are free. So what is my journey? My journey is the journey of self-education.
Mm-hmm.
So why? Because the more that I know, the more that I can see. The more that I can see, the better perspective I can have. The better perspective I can have, the better outcome and decision making I can have in positioning for my life. So if I understand that I can obtain freedom and that I can obtain wealth and I can obtain success, it's not merely an illusion. It is an understanding based off of what the world around me has shown me that it is possible, right? So it's merely a game of probabilities. So what do I need to do is increase my probabilities by knowing how the game is played. You play Monopoly. I win every time I play Monopoly. Why? Because I went on YouTube and I watched the videos. What are the lands that I should buy with highest possible return to win the game? Which land should I stay away from? Literally, you can build a strategy. In the same way, there's formulas in success to building a strategy in life. And if you don't think so, it's not that they're not there. It's that you do not have the wherewithal or the mental capacity or the right information to see it. But it doesn't mean that it's not real. And once you have the humility to perceive that and have a student's mind, you'll be able to see the way in all things.
I love it. You're spitting right now already. This is starting amazing. Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of people, we were on a Twitter space last week and talking about this with our friends. Like, most people live their lives for an outcome. They have the intention of an outcome versus the intention of a process. And really lose a lot there because there's so much to be gained just by the process. And when you play for the outcome, you never really get the full process and that understanding. So I guess like to kind of follow up on Nick's question there, because it's a great answer. Was there, like when you were 16 and you're flying to America, did you move to Miami then? I would imagine.
No, I traveled around. So I was literally just hopping around. There was no one location. I'm all over the country, bro.
Love
all over
it.
the country.
Love it. But did you have that same, process intention or just the yearning to understand at that point?
So,
or was it?
It was more so the process of survival, right? So you go from like surviving to living to thriving.
Yep.
So most people, what they don't do is they don't turn off their survival mentality once they go to being well. And once they go from being well, they become comfortable, but they still have the habits of a person that is like in dire situation. Why? What do I mean by that? They're always looking at the fast money. They're always looking at the quick money. They're always looking at the quick bag, right? Because they're still thinking in scarcity mindset, in the same mindset that they needed to get out of in order to get to the next level. It was the essential one, right, in order to survive, but it's not the necessary one in order to thrive. So I was in survival mind at that point. At that point in my journey, I was like, I just need to make money. I got to pay for rent. Like I got to figure out how to live. Then I started buying a couple books here and there. One of my buddies introduced me to stock trading. Somebody else introduced me to crypto. A lot of things that one could call luck, but I call positioning, right? Because I position myself in the best restaurants, for example. Like, why would I go work at the shitty restaurant when I could work at the best restaurant? Like, it was just made sense, right? Why would I work? If I'm going to work, might as well work to get paid for what I produce. So I'm going to take a job in sales instead of working a 9 to 5 where it doesn't matter how much I produce. I'm capped by my hourly wage, right? So those logical steps of actually taking pride and respecting my time, knowing what my time is worth, is what led me to, in my survival kind of hustles, be able to be paid based off of what I produce and not my time, which I think gave me the ability to speed out of the bullshit a lot faster than most people.
I love it. And is there a moment where you feel like, retrospectively looking back at everything you've done, where you kind of like, where it clicked and you really moved into that thriving or abundant
what I would say
consciousness?
what I would say was my first digital marketing gig. So I was introduced to Facebook ads in 2015. So
Nice.
like super long ago.
Golden age.
And that was when you would run like a picture ad and it would generate sales and it would make you money. But at that point it was a lot more complicated to have suppliers and things of this nature. And
You were drop shipping?
I was drop shipping, and we found out about drop shipping through we would watch Robert Kiyosaki and a lot of like the OG guys.
And at this time, you're like,
This time I'm working in restaurants. I'm like hustling. I'm like I'm working odd jobs. I'm like figuring out how to make money. So that was literally like the last year of the grind and the bullshit.
so you see this and you're like, this.
I see this, and I'm like, I just need to make a couple hundred more bucks a day. It wasn't
That's exactly how I.
it wasn't that I'm going to be a multi-millionaire. I was just like, I can make a couple sales and I can sell this thing and it works. And
Dude, I need to make money.
and it feels good, right? Like
Yeah.
I was making $4,000 or $5,000. I was paying $200 to sleep on a couch, and everything else that I would make, I would reinvest into the business, right? And what is reinvest into the business? $200 that I would get in tips. That would be my advertising budget for the next day. But so fucking be it, right? Like it was the name of the game. What am I not going to be able to find another job? I'm never going to be able to make money. I never had that negative talk and that perspective because I just understood that it was part of the process, that it was the grind and the process. But then the next step of self-actualization or self-realization was understanding the value of information and understanding that if you can position yourself ahead of time as to where the money is going to go, you're going to be able to capitalize on it. What do I mean by that? Is that people that have a job or are employees, most of their day is focus on what? Taking care of somebody else's business, running somebody else's business. You're getting paid for that. So the amount of time that you have allocated towards self-exploration, self-development, all this stuff is capped because you add commuting, you add being tired, you add eating. A lot of people don't have time left. They do if they wanted to make it, but we're talking about the average person. They don't have massive amounts of time left to make something meaningful. So what I would do is I would set time aside every single day in order to get educated. So what do I mean? I would pick up stock books. I wouldn't read them all the way through, but I would skim over them. I would buy them. I would look at a chart. I would research what does this pattern mean, and then what I would do, spend every single day looking at the Bitcoin chart. I've looked at the Bitcoin chart every single day for 5 years. So when I look at something, it reminds me of an event that took place back in 2018. And this was the price movement, and this was what was taking place. And you start becoming natural
Pattern recognition.
Pattern recognition, and starts becoming natural, and starts becoming a habitual kind of intuitive aspect of your life. Yeah. So what I started realizing was I need to figure out what are the skill sets that I need to learn that are going to allow me to be intuitive and become rich. So how do you become intuitive and rich? Investing patterns, like understanding how to invest. Like, it's a skill that you can learn and a skill that you can develop. It's not luck. Like there's dudes out there that understand how to make fucking money. The banks, they're literally just investment firms. They take your fucking money and they invest it on your behalf. And you dumb fucks, you put your money in there thinking that your money's sitting in there. All it is a number on a screen. Your money's out there being used and deployed.
I've seen you talk a lot about BlackRock.
Yeah, BlackRock, it's crazy. BlackRock, Vanguard, all the big organizations, all of those are dudes that use their head. People that think.
Yeah.
Finance is the language of the elite. Okay? Finance is the language of the elite. Back in the day, the church would block people's access from God. Why? They wouldn't let people speak in Latin. So therefore, they couldn't read the Bible. So what would happen? They would have to go through the middleman. Today, you want a middleman? Perfect. Here's your banker because you don't know finance. You don't know law? Perfect. Here's your middleman. Here's your lawyer. The fuck is that? Another person representing you because because you do not understand how the world works. So I realized that if I wanted to get to the next level, I needed to get educated. So on my spare time after the hustle, back commuting, podcast, reading. I was addicted to getting fucking mentally strong. And not just physically strong, not just hustling, but mentally strong. Because the Bible says it, as a man thinketh, so is he. So what you think about yourself becomes the reality of who you are. So what you put in here is going to manifest itself through your life. So I've realized I just need to insert so much good stuff here that it will naturally be a byproduct of what I spit out. And it worked. So people just don't want to do the day-to-day. They don't want to do the right things today. You make $1 million, guys, by doing the right thing every fucking day. You do the right thing. Go sit down with a millionaire every single week. You can't figure out how you can provide a little bit of value, how you can be of service. Open up your eyes. Like, the opportunity is out there for everybody, but only the few people that understand that they need to use this are going to be the ones that make it. There's the working class. It's the people that work. And there's the ruling class, the people that rule. Do you think the ruling class works? Come on, brother. Get woke.
I love it.